From the Ballers Discord channel, this is the Baller Locker Room, where we talk all things baller. My name is Alex, and today our special guest is the MVP, Justin Brown. He sits and discusses his love for basketball and NBA at a young age while growing up in the middle of Siberia. He answers some community questions, and lastly, he drops some big alpha news. So please enjoy episode 9. Disclaimer. The Baller Locker Room podcast is not affiliated with NFT Genius or Ballerz NFT. All discussion here is not financial advice and a solicitation to purchase any past, present, and future Baller NFTs. All right. Welcome to the 9th episode of the Baller Locker Room, where we talk all things baller. Today we have the man, the myth, the legend, Justin Brown on our show in his first exclusive Baller Tell-All. Good evening and welcome to our show, Justin.
Good evening. Happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Sorry
Awesome.
for postponing the talk for a couple of times. Happy that I'm not blacklisted and we finally have a time to talk.
Definitely not. I know you're a busy man. You're making deals across Twitter, across Discord. So glad to finally have you on and talk all things baller. Joining me as co-host is MP33. How's it going?
Bing bong, what's up, ballers? Listen, this is the MVP right here. We got the MVP on the line. We are ready to talk ballers. We are ready to figure out what we are going to do as a group to increase our ballers exposure. Justin, let's chop it up, brother.
Thanks, MP. Thanks a lot.
MP, it's been a whole week since your sneaker crafting TED Talk, and the price floor went from 10 to 14. How does it feel to be a market mover?
I'm just sitting here waiting to craft. I think other people are with me now. Crafting is a thing. I know it is. They know it is. And I love that Baller's Locker Room is moving the markets, baby. Sneakers is going to be really important. Excited.
Perfect. We're going to move into lightning round question, Justin. So you're ready. First question, where did you grow up? What made you pick Baller ID 8148 as your PFP?
Okay, I'll start with a short story about myself. I was born and I grew up in the middle of Siberia. I'm a basketball fan since the very early childhood, and my father introduced me to the game of basketball. It was in the mid-90s when I was sleeping and my dad woke me up in the middle of the night, like screaming, son, let's go. There is a basketball game. There is a finals. And we ran to the kitchen, and on the TV set, we saw an image of an NBA game with a title final on the bottom of the screen. And my father, who didn't speak English, he told me that this is the final game, and we were watching this title for a couple of minutes, and then it appeared that the word final meant that the game is over, and it wasn't actually the finals game. But it was a kind of the first time I saw a game of basketball, and then I started to look for those games on the national television. These were broadcasted like once every week. I was watching all those games, and what I was especially interested in too were the stats. I'm a kind of fan of numbers, even though in real life I'm a lawyer, but numbers are more close to me than the letters, let's put it this way. And I was trying to get information on which team is winning, which team is losing. I didn't have access to the internet back in those days. So the only option for me to get those scores was to watch the local news, the local sports news on the television. And as you might imagine, they dedicated not very much time to the NBA, and they basically shown all the results of like 14, 12, 10 games for 15 seconds, and that was it. So what I did at that time, I turned in a VHS cassette and I recorded all those sports news, and then I paused, and then I took my notebook. I put all the scores. I was calculating who are the first, who is the last, and all the people in my neighborhood knew that I'm the man who has all those numbers. So this was basically my kind of introduction to the game of basketball. I was playing myself and kind of semi-pro on a point guard position for my school, for my university. With my school, we won a couple of championships, the local championships, and with my university, we also did well. But I didn't go pro, even though some of my friends are playing for the national team these days. So that's basically what brought me to Ballers, right? At the basketball related NFT project, and it was a love from the first sight. Not only because of this kind of relation, but also because of the NBA Top Shot relation. Because NBA Top Shot was the entry point for many of us, I guess, right, and for myself as well. Just guys, interrupt me if you feel that I'm talking too much.
No, what pops up for me from a question standpoint is your fanhood, JB. You got to tell me about who do you like? Who did you watch back in the day? Who was broadcasted consistently? Did you take to a specific NBA team?
Oh, I had an opportunity to watch the last years of MJ's career. I watched Kobe's first All-Star game when he were playing against Mike. I watched LeBron's first season. Vince Carter, tremendous plays. I remember Reggie Miller shooting threes all the way. And to be honest, one of my favorite players back then was Jason Williams, the White Chocolate, and I was trying to be kind of similar to him on court because I was playing the point guard position, and all his crazy passes I was training to make those passes. He's like an elbow pass, and actually once I tried it in a game, and it actually went as an assist. I was quite quite surprised about it. If you know which kind of pass I mean. Yeah, so
Yeah, no, I know exactly what it is. The behind the back elbow pass. He is very
yeah,
famous.
the only thing is I was trying to make this pass to my center, but the pass was bad, and the ball goes straight to the hands of the shooting guard who was on the 3-point line. He shoots, and the ball went in, and I was like, yeah, that's what I meant.
That's so cool. Love to hear that. So it seems like you're more of a player guy. You don't have an affinity towards a team particularly. More so, like the MJs, the Kobe's, the LeBrons, and then you kind of just took to the overall NBA. Is that correct?
It kind of is. I'm watching different teams playing, and I kind of switched my favorite teams from year to year because I'm not based in the when you're based in a town in the US or Canada, you might have your favorite team based on your location, and I have a privilege not to have the one favorite team, so I watched them all.
Gotcha. So that's actually fairly similar to me in the NFL. So I'd say the NFL is my favorite sport in general. NBA is certainly up there along with the MLB, but NFL and I'm from Connecticut, and so we have no sports teams except for the WNBA, right? And I play a ton of fantasy football, so I love rooting for players. I was a Peyton Manning fan, huge Patrick Mahomes fan. Pretty much anybody against Tom Brady that's vying to beat him. But I'm certainly with you there. I'm actually impressed in your background as well. So you said you're a stats guy. Tell me about your stats in high school and college. Were you a majority assist guy since you're a point guard? Were you scoring point guard? Were you doing triple doubles? Tell us about that. Tell the people.
My stats were similar to the stats of one of my bowlers. If you remember the nose breaking from the UBL season one, the guy who scored like 6 points per game with 10 assists and 10 rebounds. These were my stats because I'm not really tall, like 5'10", 5'11", But at one point in my career, I even dunked the ball. So I always had quite a high jump, and I grabbed all those rebounds and assisted a lot. Not really willing to score much because my shoot was like not perfect, especially from the 3-point line.
All right, so that's why you go after those 99 jump shoes, because you're a very good jumper at 5'10", dunking the ball. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So talking about ballers, actually, tell the people, are you a trait, skills, combo guy? Give us an understanding of ballers. What do you actually target?
I'm a little bit of everything, and I think at this point, when we do not know much about the upcoming game and the upcoming utility, I guess the best way is to kind of diversify. So I'm trying to get a little bit of nice traits, including my pink skin bowlers. I'm trying to get those skilled players, and I'm also, when looking at skills, I'm trying to grab different bowlers with different combination. Let's say a combination of defense and playmaking, which makes a good point guard, a combination of like a dunk and defense as well to make a good center. I'm not really looking for a combination of, let's say, dunk and playmaking. This might be a Derrick Rose style players, but I'm not sure how they work in how they will work in the actual game when we have it. So I'm kind of trying to diversify, and I'm lucky to have an opportunity to have multiple bowlers. And if I would have just one or two, I'd probably go with skills, not with traits.
So a very smart guy, and I think it's a method and mode for the people to take notice of, because you've been exposed in balls for quite some time. Your mindset is important. I think this is honestly for people that are in either just getting into ballers or looking for a strategy to understand ballers, and how to purchase and how to build up their collection. I think that is a little bit of alpha there. So I appreciate your thought process.
Thanks a lot. Just will make a small remark that I, in fact, do not know anything what's going on behind the scenes. So I'm just guessing, as well as you guys. And I don't want to make anyone run and sell their trades to buy skills just because I, I just said it. I'm not even sure that it's the right approach.
Spoken like a true lawyer. But moving to a second lightning round question. Everyone knows you love the pink aliens, and that's probably going to be your top pick for body if you do get a custom baller. How did that come about? What made you look at pink aliens and say, I want a whole squad of pink aliens?
Well, Pinky Grills, the bowler 8148 started it all. And I've been into Bowlers Discord. I joined Bowlers Discord a couple of days before before they start to mint bowlers. And right after this were revealed, I started to search and look for different bowlers to try to find the perfect one for myself, because those that I minted were not those I was looking for to have as my PFP, and I was willing to have one of the bowlers to become my like forever PFP, like they say, right? And what happens is that at that time I was one of the moderators in the local NBA Top Shot community, and one of the guys in this community changed his PFP to Pinky Grills. I saw it. I DM'd this guy asking whether he's willing to sell. He said no, but after about 40 days of me DMing him, he said, just okay, just take this bowler and just stop chasing me with those messages. At that time, this was the highest bowlers sale, I guess. It was slightly more than 3,000. Maybe there were some bigger sales, but this was quite big because we do not have we didn't have a marketplace yet, and so this was a kind of a off-market transaction, as like many of the transaction I made before the Gaia was launched. And that's basically how I got Pinky. And then I started to look at various skin colors. I was trying to build a squad of like different rare traits, but it happens that all the good deals which came my way involved pink-skinned bowlers, and that's how I got 4 of them, and I'm now a proud holder of 4 out of just 52 pink elements.
Incredible. I mean, that is a journey to think about. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the conversations that I have too are, just kind of tracking and being persistent and understanding like kind of what you like. So the old adage definitely comes into play: collect what you like, and that's kind of what you did, right? You saw what you liked, you tried to be persistent towards it, and that was that. Alex, we have community questions. Is that right?
Yes, this is the last lightning round question, and it comes from the community. What color is your favorite Adidas tracksuit?
Hard to tell because I mainly wear Nike.
No, that was just more of a joke. But the actual question was, how many hours do you spend thinking about Ballers? Because, my first interaction was with you looking at the baller sales 995. You were one of the first ones to kind of recognize, hey, look at this armband and headband. It's mismatching. I think it's going to be worth something. And you bought it. And, I didn't even look that detail in depth into this baller, but you picked it out. And I just want to know, outside of work, how many hours are you spent thinking about ballers or interacting with ballers?
I didn't calculate, but I think I'm spending quite a lot of hours on that because it's one of my let's say favorite things to do during this last 6 months. As I mentioned in the Ballers project, everything that I like and that I love comes together. The attachment to the basketball, the attachment to the stats, and to those numbers, I mean those skill sets. And I kind of when I kind of notice anything, I'm trying to get deeper into details. Like with this 995 bowler, I saw that something is wrong with his hand. Like this armband was not matching the color of his jersey. So I just put aside all what I was doing at that time, and I just started to look at all those bowlers, trying to find how many of them are actually having the armband not matching. And I noted that there are only bowlers from 2 teams, and there are only bowlers from the Flowers packs, meaning those with IDs 1 to 1000. So that's basically how it happened with this one. And we also, I think it wasn't me, but we also noticed the tongue out bowlers, not from the first sight, because tongue outs, and I think we'll come to this later, tongue outs are quite a diamond of the bowlers collection, if you ask.
I mean, you just perked my ears up because I do want to talk about tongue out. Tongue out is, as you and I both know, JB, we're a part of a very exclusive community that is community driven, but also, it is pretty exclusive. And so, uh, you know, 6 people in the group as of right now, out of 8 possible. And there's news coming out about the additional 3, so there's only going to be 11 in general. You have any additional things to talk about when you came to that realization of the tongue out, and why you made the trade, and how the trade happened? I think that people would love to hear that. I certainly.
Oh, my tongue out trade was an actual steal, probably the best deals I've done so far, and I've done many good deals. And how it happened, I basically was buying, before the Gaia was launched, I basically was buying every single baller below $1,000, right? So when I found people willing to sell below 1,000, I told them I'm willing to pay. They sent ballers my way, and I sent them the amount. And at some point when I made like 8 or 9 deals like this, I wasn't even looking at my 10th deal, and the guy just sent the ballers my way. And when I opened it, there was something wrong with the bowler. He had this tongue out, and I started to look at. I checked what this trade is about. I figured out that this trade wasn't even on blockchain, but it's not an additional dot, right? It's quite a visual part of the bowler. This tongue, and I told the guy, look, you just sent me the super rare bowler, and there are only 11 of those exist. And the guy said, look, I don't really care because this is not an official trade. So take it and send me my money. And I was like, okay. And I was happy about this trade. And this is how it happened. And then, as you know, those other tongue out, they were sold for like 10,000 and 10,000 plus. And no tongue out is on the market at the moment. And I'm not sure whether any tongue outs will be on the market soon, because at least I know that those 6 you mentioned in our group, they're not willing to sell.
I know I'm certainly not, and yeah, the other 5, including yourself, are certainly not. As long as we are together and Ballers exists, Tongue Out will be in that group. And to be honest, I'm a little bit sort of upset about that. I'd love to stack Tongue Out Ballers, but I also want to bring in the right people into this exclusive community. Um, so listen, if you really want to be a part of the community, and you end up finding the other 2 some way somehow, you track them down digitally, talk to us, and we'll be a huge proponent of procuring that for you, or helping to procure that. Um, Certainly, JB and I will do everything in our power to bring you into the group.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should say that owning more than one tongue out bowlers is prohibited. I don't think that anyone is allowed to own more than one, as we only have 11 existing.
All right, and an unofficial rule of the tongue out ballers: can't own
Yep.
multiple. I like that. Okay, that's
All
fair.
right. I just banged the gavel, so it's decided. But switching a little gear, between the 3 of us, we own about 95 to 100 ballers in total. But what would be your favorite baller in your collection?
It's tough question, and but I would say that during probably the last month, my favorite bowler is Michelle Jordan. 5457 is her ID, if I recalled correctly. I mean, she's a perfectly skilled bowler, one of top 200, and she was fighting like a beast in the UBL finals against Seattle Scream and Dingaling, and she was fouled out 4 times out of 7 games, but she scored pretty well in some of those games. And I'd say that she's kind of my favorite bowler. The other bowlers include maybe Nose Breaking, 1673. I know the Scorekeeper. I like the Scorekeeper, super low rated bowler. The only bowler exists with all 4 skills below 69, and she's the bowler I'm proud to have. And I also like my original bowler, the only one left from what I minted, 2914. I named him Justin Brown just to have him as the person who really holds this name, because for me Justin Brown is not a real name, as you mentioned.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, you have about 43 ballers, one of the top 3 holders, and it's very hard to pick out of 43. Even switching a little bit more to just kind of behind the scene work, Jeremy Bourne mentioned that you do a lot of work just helping out the team. Could you kind of give the audience what that entails?
Well, thanks a lot to Jeremy for the shout out. I kind of trying to be active in this community. What I meant by that is we often compare NFT investments with like stock investments, right, and other types of investments. But I look at the NFT projects I'm in a bit differently, because let's say when you invest in stock of a huge corporation or bank or an oil company, you don't really have an opportunity to somehow make this company better, because you're one of like thousand, 100,000 of people here. And with the NFT projects, while we have not that many people involved, there is really an opportunity for people to help the project grow with their activity on Twitter, with them helping the others, and with them just showing that they are having strong hands and not willing to sell those NFTs from this project they are involved in. So what I'm actually doing for the community is nothing secret. It's I'm helping people with Ballerz trades. You know that Ballers are not yet tradable, but when people would like to trade Baller for Baller, they ask me and I help them. I kind of help educate people about Ballers, those newcomers who are willing to buy. I'm sending them all those Raven links and Ballers info links, so they could take a deeper look on which Ballers to buy before they do. I also help people finding the good offers on Raven, and I'm just also trying to be, polite, honest, and active. And I think it's the components which you need to help the project. Because one thing I don't like is when people are actually spreading FUD about the project on Twitter. I mean, it's like in the I spent 20 years in sports. And it's like in a basketball game. Let's say when you hit the court, when the others watching, you shall be with your team. You shall help your team. But when you go to the locker room, let's say, you could scream and shout at your teammates because they played badly and stuff like that. I mean, I sometimes don't understand it when the people are fighting the project in open spaces in Twitter, but that's probably just my choice not not to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've addressed this a few different times, especially on this podcast, that I think there's certainly an opportunity for everybody to affect it in their own way, whether it be developing content or supporting others behind you, in front of you, beside you, whatever it may be. Being a positive contributor to the community is going to help to grow it regardless of what you do. So it is an opportunity for someone to start their own thing, make their own niche. And Justin, you've certainly done that. So you are a huge role model. Whether you know it or not, you're a role model for other people, including myself, and I'm sure for Alex as well. And we appreciate you. And you're the MVP for a reason. I'll tell you that.
Thanks a lot, Mpei. And just to add one point to this, I'll give an example of, we have how many unique holders we have at the moment, like 3.8 thousand something, right? And let's imagine that about 3.7 are like unique people, because I could not believe that more than 100 people are splitting their collection between different wallets. We're not at the board apes level, so we do not need to split them between wallets. So there are like 3.7 thousand unique holders. If we imagine that every holder is making one good tweet about the project they're invested in just once a year, just one time in 12 months, we'll have 10 good tweets about the project daily. I know it's kind of fantasy because we know that 100% of people will never like post anything because many people are just invested and do not get involved into Discord or Twitter. But you could see that Ballerz community is quite different from the other NFT communities we see in this space. I think it happened also mainly because those Ballerz holders, they came from Top Shot mainly. They came from the Flow ecosystem. And for many of them, Ballerz collection was the first PFP collection they had. And I love that for many Ballerz remains the key collection they are holding. And if those people could be more active on Twitter and on Discord, that would be a huge boost for the project overall. I mean, I saw the one community question about how one could help the community. That's simple. Just tell the people you know about the project. If you like the project, it's not like bringing in people into something bad. Absolutely not, because let people make their own decision. But if you like the project, you can tell the reason why you like it, and the person could make his or her own decision. Right?
That's correct. Yeah, I think that's a good point as well. Certainly spreading the word in general is just so huge to the project. I think there's a lot of different levels to this, and for me, the most important one is going to be the community rallying. The second most important is going to be what the token will eventually be worth in the future, and what it will represent. Okay, so if it's ownership of a seat, or ownership of part ownership of a store, or part ownership of a brand that eventually is built, something that token actually represents will be the biggest piece of how Ballerz will increase in value. Until then, certainly the community will be the biggest driver of organic growth and non-organic growth for that matter. So those are the two things for me.
Yeah, I just want to make a point as well. Community driven is the biggest kind of differentiation between Web3 and Web2. Uh, so much of our actions and just overall noise making on Twitter or Discord attracts more attention. And the more attention we get, the bigger the project gets. And ultimately, it's what exposure kind of will, send this to the moon, quote unquote. When you think about it in our regular days, so much of our actions is driven by reviews, Amazon review, Yelp review, Google review, and people read them. People see them and actually take notice of what you say on Twitter, or if on these website, and they follow it, and then they judge you on. I'm not judge on you, but oh, if this guy is correct, they say, oh, this guy +1, or this recommendation made my day, or is totally correct. You guys should try this store, restaurant, whatever. But just linking it back to Web3, the more community-driven initiatives we do, the bigger the project gets and more eyes on it. And ultimately, we will, succeed instead of, I don't want to have this project shut down, when there's so many things on the internal roadmap. And looking forward to next year or two or even 10.
That's an incredible point though, Alex. I really do think so, because I personally, as a consumer, am influenced significantly by reviews, right? I mean, I go on and want to see the best restaurants in 15, 20-mile radius. And so I want to take my wife and my kid and my family there for a nice meal, whether it be a lunch or a dinner or something like that. And it's influenced by reviews, right? You look it up and you're like, all right, this place looks good. And then the people that have went there and given reviews and taken their own time uh to write something down about it, they did it for a reason. And it influenced consumers like myself. So same thing for here, same thing for Ballers, same thing for the brand.
Our next question to you, Justin, is how do you think the Baller project will look in a year?
Yeah, this is a good one. In a year time, you mean March 2023, right? Okay, I look at Baller's project in a year time as a kind of Baller's metaverse with people involved in the project split into three categories of owners, managers, and fans. Because Baller's project is limited to only 10,000 players, and only 10,000 people max could be the owners. And not everyone could afford a Baller, but people could afford to be a fan and have fun with Ballers, like watch games, make bets, and stuff like that. And those games could be broadcasted on different platforms. There could be different leagues created. By that time, there is a local currency. Let's maybe call it ball. So people could use balls to buy sneakers and stuff. Stuff like maybe MJ's secret stuff from Space Jam, you know, those drinks which could boost the powers of your baller. They could also buy in real life stuff like NBA tickets, league pass access, merch, stuff like that. And those balls, I mean, those tokens are distributed based on ballers' performance in different leagues. And ballers are being traded, switching owners, switching teams. And some of the biggest trades are becoming some of the biggest news in the NFT space. And there might be various branded ballers teams like Nike team, bike team with a kind of a Premier League style leagues if this will be created. And you know those when I mentioned the owners and managers, what I meant is there are some people who were lucky to buy ballers for as low as 600 back in March 2022, and those people could hold their ballers and they could kind of lend them to the people who are willing actually to spend time managing their ballers games and helping their ballers to win titles and to win those tokens during the playing in various leagues. As you know, some owners are not willing to get deeper into this, so they would be happy to just lend ballers to someone to stack them and to get something out of it, and just watching their ballers play. And maybe the key question in this regards is, are we getting there? And to be honest with you, I don't know. I see that the NFT Genius team is working in a silent mode, and we do not know much about what they do. But from what I hear and from what I feel like they're doing pretty big things. And I see huge collapse incoming. I see huge potential, and that's actually what I feel. And probably you see this from Raven when you see that I keep buying. I have like 43 ballers and not going to stop until the prices skyrocket. So I'm not against those prices being at the level they are at the moment, because this allows me to get more ballers. And I think I have a plan for even the kind of worst case scenario if nothing is happening. I still think that ballers can make it no matter what, and I'm absolutely sure about some of the community members, and I think we'll be able to bring ballers to the next level. And just to make a small point on what I just said, that NFT Genius are doing like tremendous job. And when we hear from people that the team is kind of moving slow, it's because we do not appreciate all the stuff which was done, and we're taking it as some kind of a given, right? Just imagine we have our own marketplace. Some people might say, well, it's not, why would we even have this? We could trade ballers on like OpenSea or LooksRare. But Ballers is a project on Flow blockchain, not on Ethereum blockchain. One of the first projects, if not the first PFP project there. And what they did with their own marketplace, and this marketplace is working, this is a huge thing. and how they did with sneakers, which is absolutely separate topic, but sneakers are amazing.
JB, I need some time to conceptualize what you just said as far as the owners versus fans type thing. So I'll take some time to reflect on that and figure out what I need to do to position myself personally into a stronger owner's perspective. I mean, certainly I'm there, obviously in a whale status, but quote unquote whale status. But you make me think a lot more about the eventual and but a small point to sort of some of the middle points that you've made. We're in the foundation phase. I mean, there's no way around it. We are in the foundational phase. So we're, in the words of building a house, we are laying the concrete, right? We're digging the hole and laying the concrete so that we can start to build the house. The materials for the house haven't even been bought yet, right? So that foundation is being built and set, and then we can only hope that through that foundational phase, community becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Um, and then NFT Genius starts to build the house into this beautiful mansion, right? I mean, that's basically where I think we are.
Yeah, I absolutely agree here. And for people who think that we're not moving in the right direction or we're moving slowly, those people are usually comparing Ballers with one or two or three PFP projects which just skyrocketed for some reason, right? And we never talk, and we do not talk enough about those 99 point maybe 5% of projects which basically failed. And what we have here is the project which is here for 6 months, right? Or about 6 months, maybe 5. And we have the community of people which is getting stronger and stronger. And just to give you some alpha, because we are for alpha here, right?
Ooh, yes, we are.
We're recording this on Saturday, and on Sunday, tomorrow, I'll post a tweet about something what I was doing for the last week or maybe like 10 days. Maybe people will hear this podcast when they already seen the tweet, but I'll just tell for those who could be listening to this before. So in terms of Ballerz holders, we know about like 100 or 200 people who hold Ballerz. And I personally have a privilege to be in a group of people called Squanchland. It's a quite a unique NFT collectors group, which consists of less than 150 people. It's super selective. It's founded by Wade. You know him by owning #1 combo and skilled baller, who he bought for 100,000, making it the biggest purchase in Ballerz history so far. And as a part of this group, I approached Waze and asked whether we should create a Squanchland team to join the UBL tournament. Waits approved the idea, and I started to dig out how many Squanchland members have Ballerz. And tomorrow we are submitting not one, not two, not three, 4 teams into the UBL from Squanchland. There are so many holders who from there who hold Ballerz. This is amazing. These are people like Dingling, Crypto Puppy, Swiki, Plunge Father, Peter Fang, Ryan Sterling, like LG Doucette, El Dumbo, and many others. And I'm really proud for our teams to be submitted. And I think this will bring more attention to the project. This will bring more fun to those people holding their Ballerz. And I hope many others who hold Ballerz will find it fun and will try to create their own teams to compete in the Premier.
I love that alpha. Thank you, JB. First, the MP camp is incredibly jealous. that these teams are getting put together from Squanchland, because it's always and will always be the best ballers possible, right? I mean, we're going up against Dingaling here, Wade's Dingaling, and then we're also going against Dingaling himself. So, the competitive side in me says that my team is coming up, and we will compete fiercely, right, with all of the Squanchland folks, and welcome the competition, certainly. So excited to interact in the near future regarding UBL. But also, let me drop some alpha myself here. JB, you and I will be putting together a TOB, tongue out baller team specifically, that will be submitted at the deadline. And you will be competing, if you're in the Premier League, against tongue out ballers. Okay, so good luck, everyone. There will be a team put together. JB, you ready for that?
Absolutely. Tongue out will be there and will play. One thing, we need to find those 4 other bowlers to be added to the 6 tongue outs, because tongue outs, not all of them, especially mine, is quite a weak in terms of skills. And just to add here on Squanchland team, you mentioned that we have all the best bowlers, and in fact, what we have is many of the group members, they had their bowlers minted of 1 bowler or 2 bowlers, and those bowlers are very different in terms of skills. Some of them are like in 78, 79s, and I decided to submit them all, meaning that we had 30 people willing to join, and we submitted bowlers from at least 1 bowler from all those 30 people. So it's not like we picked 10 best bowlers owned by 3 or 4 people. We submitted bowlers from 30 people there, and that's why we have those 40.
Very cool. I might suggest in the near future here, Justin, that we could put together like a watch party with the Squanchland folks, perhaps in playoff time, or championship time, whatever it may be, during UBL, get some interaction in the near future. But until then, thank you for putting this together. Alex, any thoughts of that?
Yeah, wow, that is huge news. 4 whole 40 ballers coming in hot from the Squanch land. Oh my, I think you guys put a big, big target as well as big notice. I'm looking forward to see you in the UBL, and just know my teams are gonna come after you guys. We're gonna make sure we put you in your place. No, just kidding. Just competitive talks. But but I mean, I guess I can't go without telling people alpha as well. After 2 people already said alphas, some alphas for you guys listener who are joining UBL. There is a math formula that Blood Royal kind of figure out during the past week. So he did mention that defense and playmaking are the 2 traits that are more heavily favored in the simulation, as well as defense IQ and offense IQ are the most impactful score. And lastly, for physical trait, height and speed is what matter more than the other traits in the simulations, in the UBL simulations, just to clarify.
Thank you, Alex. That is very helpful. Very helpful.
After
right.
after I already submitted those bowlers, just
Hey, another
just kidding.
week. Just spend another week. Just spend another week reorganizing it. Yeah.
The process of organization was crazy, because Squanchland together owns about maybe 200 bowlers, maybe a bit less, and I was trying to pick in those, matching the 4 teams, and it was quite a challenge. Blood helped me a lot, and I think we have some competitive teams out there, but it was a challenge, and I absolutely do not want to repeat this what I just did during those days.
That's all the time we have. Do you have any final words or any mentions you want to give for the audience?
Yeah, any plugs, JB? Anything that you do on the side or social media? Anything you want people to connect with you on?
Maybe the last point I really want to address is the point about people mm, being kind of stressed about the floor failed from 2000 to 600 and to even like 500, right? Uh, I should say that if you look at other numbers, not just floor, but the number of unique holders, which is a bit down as well. But you could find out that the floor, while the floor is down 75% from 2000 to 500, the number of unique holders is only down like 5%, right? So it basically means that we have a lot of strong hands there in the community. And I should say that looking at the project, at some other different projects which have those small floors during some period of time and then they skyrocket, I could easily see it happening with Ballerz. And what I would like to highlight there is, like, you know, myself as someone who pays a lot of attention to Ballerz community. And I do this because at some point when I owned NFTs from about 10 or 20 projects, I just figured out that first, I'm not attached to almost all of this. And second, I just cannot spend time on any of this. And you have to be someone like Gary Vee to have an opportunity to just bring one tweet and help the project to skyrocket. I don't have this privilege. So I just decided to go all in with Ballerz. And I should say that I've sold or traded most of the NFTs I had, except for maybe NBA Top Shot, because it's the project which brought me into the NFT space. So I'm all into Ballerz. It's not a financial advice, but I should say that I'm quite certain that we'll put it on a level which it deserves. And I'm sure that we'll hear a lot of great news from the NFTG team in the near future. Again, not meaning that I know anything, but the feeling I have is quite strong on this.
All right, people, take notice. JB, the MVP, has spoken. All right. And when he does, you better listen, especially if it's regarding Ballerz. So, JB, I do want to thank you for your time. Really a pleasure getting to know you a little bit more personally, and then also learning about your mindset. So, thanks for spending time with me.
Thanks a lot, MP. Thanks a lot, Alex, and thanks
Thank
a
you
lot
so
for
much.
them who listened it up until the end.
That wraps up episode 9. Thank you so much for listening, and a special thank you to Justin Brown. It is always amazing to hear from someone who's been a strong proponent of this project since day one. Please send any questions, comments, or donation on Twitter at BallerLockerRoomR1. And see you guys next week.